What's up guys? As some of you may know from a couple of videos ago, back when I was at the UAG gym in Tokyo, I got a couple of little goodies, some new handles that I wanted to try out, adding them into my new training program leading up to my next big match or big competition. So, about two main handles that I got. First one I want to show you guys is this flat, not really flat, but flat handle. It's by Ultra Grip, and here's the website, wristball.net apparently. And never tried anything like this before in my life, not really, but nothing like this sort of curved grip. I have flat handles that I've used in the past, which, you know, I've added them into my training programs, always ended up taking them out because it just never felt comfortable enough. Here's the previous one I was using, regular flat handle with this little thumb grip over here. As you can tell, very flat over here. There's no taper compared to this one, where there is a curve, much more natural in my opinion. Having that curve, gripping up with your opponent, you're never completely just flat like that, but you're always a little bit curved. That's just basic human anatomy, you know, our hands, our arms, they're never just perfectly straight. And having this new one, I'm just gonna try out the difference in feel between the old one and the new one and give you all some thoughts about that. Let's cut right to it. So first of all, what you're gonna see here is that for the old handle, that little thumb grip thing over there is what provides a lot of the stability for this handle. Just having that thumb simulation really makes it feel a little bit more like an actual hand, and that is what is lacking, as you can see here, with the red handle, where instead you have the strap that is holding you on to the handle. But one of the huge advantages of having this strap instead is that it really simulates how it feels like to have a strap during an arm wrestling match. That stability, that tightness that you feel, it really feels similar. And I think it almost makes up for not having that little thumb grip over there, because I still don't really have to hold on to this as much in terms of squeezing, and I really get to use my fingers instead. But one big downside that the red handle has is this quality of life one, where you can see for the black handle, I could easily just switch over to the right hand by flipping over the handle, but for the red one, I would have to unscrew and reattach the strap just because of the way it is shaped. It is not symmetrical, unlike the black one where you can just flip it over to the right side. For this one, I have to completely take out the handle and readjust it and put it in my right hand. But I think for the added comfort of how this feels in my hand, the curvature of the handle, as well as having the strap on the back of the hand, I think this slight disadvantage, I think it's pretty acceptable for me. Additionally, one more advantage that this red handle has is that it has 3 different attachment points for where you want to have the force into your hand. So you have one that's furthest, one that's closest, and one that's a little bit in the middle. So you can target exactly where you want the force to be acting into your fingers, so that all different parts of your hand can be trained in isolation, and that might make a difference for you. So as you saw from that little test over there, a couple of pros, a couple of cons to either handle. Mostly personal preference, but for me at least, I think I'm gonna stick with the new wrist ball handle. It just feels much better in my hand, and the pros of it way outweigh the cons. Much more comfortable, and I think long-term, having that comfort in doing a lift is really gonna help in the consistency and allowing me to stick to a program, stick to a lift, and see the constant gains long-term. So now on to the next handle that I want to show you guys that I got. Right here, we got a sort of wrist wrench type of thing, also with this little adjustable thing at the back. So instead of the typical wrist wrench where it comes with both of these things attached together, this one's both separate, but of course you can always connect them together and hook them up to a carabiner together. So it doesn't really matter. And as you do the lift like that, tries to open your hand. But this time, as opposed to other wrist wrenches, like an old one like this, there is nothing at the back. There's no strap holding your hand there. So this one, much, much heavier taxation on the fingers to hold on to the wrist wrench, and very hard to do it thumbless like this, because without the thumb grabbing on, very easily this can spin out of your hand, as opposed to this one where you can put your hand in like this already with a thumbless grip, tighten that up. This one, very, very easy to do thumbless cupping, which I find that a lot of arm wrestlers, they like to do, and I personally like to do as well. It simulates that arm wrestling grip, especially for me as a top roller, much more accurately like that. So I'm just gonna show you guys how it looks like on the cable. So hooking up both ends to the same carabiner, just like that. And I'm gonna first do it with a thumbless grip, like this. Get that nice and tight. Get my cap in, and yeah, very, very comfortable. Now, sometimes you want to do a little bit of variation without the thumb. You can always go like that, then re-tighten the strap. And then you can do your own thumbless variation. Now, I have tried, because my machine has 2 carabiners originally, I have tried it with 1 attachment each. I found that it's a little bit less stable, so I prefer to have them both just connected to 1 carabiner. It divides the weight much more evenly, and prevents me from, overly biasing one side or the other. So, as most of you may know, my biggest weakness is probably my wrist flexion, as well as a little bit of finger flexion, but mostly wrist flexion. A little bit of it is due to genetics. I'm just naturally not very strong at wrist flexion, but also a lot of it is due to me just not having enough motivation to train my wrist, because I've always been able to rely on my back pressure, and whenever I train my wrist, always gotten injured, always not finding the right equipment to allow me to progress steadily, not finding anything that was comfortable enough for me to go higher in weight, such as the old flat wrist handles. Always found those to be very, very awkward for my hands. But now with these new pieces of equipment, I'm very, very hopeful that I can stick to my wrist training program and finally, hopefully, take my wrist training up to a higher level. But right now, in the middle of a rehab, 46 weeks for my elbow. But after that, hopefully, it's time to take this wrist to the world level. But yeah, nothing in this video was sponsored, guys. I just got these equipment out of my own pocket. Just wanted to try them out. It's been a while since I've gotten new arm wrestling tools, so it's been really fun getting to try them out. Doing a little bit of training on my left already. Some of you guys may know that I have a match coming up soon. It's gonna be on the left hand. More details coming up soon. But yeah, until then, I'll be updating you guys on my Patreon about my training, how things are going, any changes I'm making, all right there on the Patreon. If you guys want to support me, you can visit the link in the description below. But until next time, guys, catch you in the next video.